Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's February 3rd, 2022 hearing. My name is Nicholas Blendy, and I am the board's Deputy Executive Secretary. You can see on the screen, I'll be your MC for the day and the outline of what I'm about to go through, the ground rules for how today is going to work. Cisco WebEx is the online meeting platform that the City of Baltimore uses to conduct all of its virtual meetings. The Board of Estimates, City Council, and Planning Department have been using WebEx to hold virtual meetings since the outbreak of COVID-19. Some basics: to fully use the WebEx system, members of the general public should have access to a laptop, an iPad, or some other smartphone or similar device with camera and microphone capabilities. If your electronic device does not have microphone capabilities, then you will need to have the camera on and use the phone number to dial in to be heard. To participate in the meeting, members of the public will either need to have downloaded the WebEx app through their technology or click on the link on the screen to access the hearing through the web. But you can see the code and the password are available. The board suggests that if you're going to use your smartphone, iPad, or other device, that you've downloaded everything at least a day before today's hearing to make sure that all updates are good and you have access to the program. And if any member of the general public does not have access to a computer or smartphone or a similar device, we then show this telephone number on the screen, which you can call in and enter the access code to listen only to the hearing. And the phone number is 1408-418-9388, and the access code is 2344-675-8698. Materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket are all available on our website. Copies of today's short docket, which it provides a brief description of the cases in front of the board, as well as the long docket, which includes all application materials, can be found under today's date on our website under the hearing schedule. Evidence: the board observes a 48-hour rule for evidence for all of its online hearings, meaning that any evidence needed to have been submitted 48 hours before 11 a.m. today, which was 11 a.m. on Tuesday, February 1st. Any evidence submitted after that time is not considered timely and will not be considered by the board during today's hearing. All evidence should be submitted to our Assistant Executive Secretary via her email address, Ms. Stacy Russell, and you can see the email address on the screen. And once more, we are virtual. The board is not accepting documents in person. Any amendments to any application made by an applicant or their representatives will not be accepted for today's hearing if it was made after January 20th, 2022 for today's docket. If there is an attempt to amend an application to be heard during today's hearing that happens either today or after the 20th, it will result in an automatic postponement to a later hearing date. And in addition to the posting of the docket online, all licensees and applicants were mailed a letter of instruction with their date and time for their hearing today. Procedures for today's docket. I'm reading the preliminaries right now and the instructions and ground rules. Calling the cases, the Deputy Executive Secretary, I shall call each case in the order it's listed on the docket. I will then also ask the applicant and his or her representative to identify themselves and if needed and applicable, have the applicant and any supporting witnesses be sworn in by our court reporter. The board will then have a case hearing and provide an opportunity for the applicant and his or her representative to present their case to the board. The board may ask questions of the attorney or the applicant. Upon the conclusion of the case, the chair will ask the individuals who are on the call and who have access to the needed technology devices if they would like to testify in support or opposition to the application. If you do wish to testify, I will then ask you to use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. It's at the bottom of the screen, and then you will be recognized. You may identify yourself, be sworn in, and testify. We note that all individuals who testify are subject to questioning by the board and potentially cross-examination by the attorney or their applicant. And remember, if you do not have access to a camera, you will not have an opportunity to testify. If it's phone only, you cannot testify. After all testimony and evidence is presented to the board will then vote on the application before them, and the Assistant Executive Secretary, she shall read the exhibits into the record. Lastly, the board is not authorized to discuss any non-case related matters today. It is sitting in its quasi-judicial capacity and authorized only to hear testimony and evidence related to cases before it on today's docket. The board is not authorized to discuss any other cases or any policy related matters during the virtual hearings today. Some general ground rules: please mute yourself when you're not speaking to minimize feedback and extra noise. Please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name, Before you speak, please speak slowly and in a clear voice so that the court reporter understands what is being said and who is saying it. I note that this event is running live on Charm TV, as well as the fact that a court reporter is present. Individuals who use profanity or disrespectful or unruly may be expelled from the virtual hearing. All attendees, applicants, and members of the public that wish to provide testimony must be sworn in prior to giving such testimony, and there will be no physical evidence taken at today's proceedings and absolutely no amendments to the application during today's hearing date. Some helpful reminders: please be prepared, read the materials ahead of time, test the video at conferencing platform as well. Location matters. Find a quiet space with good light and strong internet so you can be seen and heard clearly. Please be present and not be multitasking. And as always, we ask you please to be patient with yourselves and with others today. Mr. Chair, I do note that all the commissioners are present, and I do note that you are chairing today's hearing, Commissioner Greenfield, as was decided. So if you are ready for me to begin, I will do so.
Yes, let's proceed.
Then, if the board and public will note, the first item on today's agenda was requested a postponement, which was granted, meaning the first item being heard today is licensee Tyler Beck Loy and Catherine D. Barrett, TOG Kona Baltimore LLC, trading as Kona Grill. Premises are located at 1 East Pratt Street. Licensee is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and this is a request to add live entertainment. And counsel in this case is Leanne Schreckengost, and she has been moved into the room, as well as the licensees.
Great. There she is. Good morning, Ms. Schreckengost. How are you?
Well, good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Would you like to proffer?
If I may, that would be awesome.
Great. Please proceed.
Very much. Leanne Schreckengost with Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed here on behalf of the Kona Grill. As indicated, this is a request to add live entertainment to the Kona Grill liquor license. We have submitted to this board a copy of the updated certificate of occupancy, which has the live entertainment added to the use description. The intent is to have a DJ only Thursdays through Sundays to play 80s, 90s, and top hits of the day. There's no intent to move tables, chairs, or have a dance floor. It's just to add an additional element to the dining experience at the Kona Grill. I have reached out to William Marcus with the Downtown Partnership. They have no issues with this request to add live entertainment to the Kona Grill license. My clients do not believe that the adding of this addition to their liquor license will in any way have an adverse impact on the health, safety, and welfare of the community surrounding the environment. And therefore, we would ask that the commissioners grant this addition of live entertainment to their existing liquor license.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I note that this licensee has had no record. And so, commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Jones?
None.
Oh, great, great. Mr. Delaney, any testimony from the public?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, no one has raised their hand.
Okay, great. So based upon the application and the proffer from Ms. Schreckengost, I would vote to approve the request to add live entertainment. Commissioners?
Commissioner Jones.
Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also approve the request to add live entertainment.
Based on the application filed and information received today, I too approve the request to add live entertainment.
Great. Thank you. Good luck, Ms. Schreckengost.
Thank you very much, Mr. Greenfield. Chairman, thank you very much.
No exhibits for the record.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee will receive follow-up instructions with the results of today's ruling by the board and instructions on how to receive an updated license with the new approved live entertainment. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Please, yes.
The next matter before the board this morning is applicant Ariana Tusky and Tyler Frank, Brazil Gourmet Marketplace LLC, trading as Brazil Gourmet Marketplace. Premises are located at 2000 Eastern Avenue, and this is an application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Previs is counsel and has been moved into the room, Mr. Chair.
Great. Good morning, Mr. Previs. How are you?
Good morning, most exalted acting chair. Peter
Okay.
Previs on behalf of the applicants.
Great. Would you like to proffer?
Thank you very much. This is an application for a transfer of ownership only of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license at 2000 Eastern Avenue. The business is Brazil Gourmet Marketplace, LLC. It is 100% owned by applicant Ariana Tusky. Tyler Frank is going on as a city resident for qualification purposes. The Brazil Gourmet has been on the corner of Eastern and Washington since 2018. They've already applied for and were granted a neighborhood commercial restaurant use permit that allows them to operate as a restaurant. When the opportunity came about through the landlord for transfer of this Class D license to them, they sought it that it will improve the dining experience and the product line that they offer. This, unlike Fogo de Chao, that's at a high-end restaurant Brazilian food, this is more at a more everyday level of food. They offer feijoada as well as picanha steak and other Brazilian dishes. The addition of alcohol will allow them to offer some Brazilian style drinks as well as Brazilian beers that they have located a supplier to offer that is quite unique to the community. Again, they've been there for 3 years. They are well supported by the neighbors. They get along with the neighbors. They reached out to Fells Prospect, but hadn't heard back with regard to this request. They will remain cooperative with Fells Prospect or any of the nearby community associations, and will stay open and willing to enter into any MOUs if that becomes necessary. But we have not heard from anybody with regard to this request. Ms. Tusky is a full-time operator. She has another location in Columbia that does not serve alcoholic beverages. Between herself, her husband, and her 2 grown children, someone in the family will be at the premises at all times. The current operating hour, they also have 4 other employees. The current operating hours are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. When COVID is done, they anticipate opening no later than 11 p.m. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. While Ms. Tusky has not previously worked in an establishment that sells alcoholic beverages, she has quite experience handling food and dealing with the public, and all members and employees that will be serving alcoholic beverages will be alcoholic awareness certified prior to transfer of the license if the board so approves. One other minor note is this is a Class D license in the 46th district. With regard to Class D is 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. 6th day, but there is a Matthews Pizza rule, as I call it, alcoholic beverages 12-2007B3, that authorizes the Class D license to operate on Sunday without alcoholic beverage sales. And any bar that might be in the premises would need to be closed and patrons served from a table. I've advised them of those parameters so that they would be in compliance with that.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Previs, for your thorough proffer, because you answered my questions that I had already listed related to the community and the licensee's experience in being tip certified. So I very much appreciate that. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
None.
All right, Mr. Delaney, any testimony from the public?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
Great. So based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Previs, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Also,
Yeah.
also, I, Harvey Jones, Commissioner, based on the application filed and information received today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Good luck to your client, Mr. Previs.
No
Thank you.
exhibits for the record.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee or applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete this transfer, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Yes, please.
And the next matter before the board today is applicant Malcolm H. Delaney and Anthony Fitzgerald, So Baltimore LLC, trading as Brewers Hill Pub and Grill. Proposed premises are 3734 Fleet Street, and this is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and requesting off-premises catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Kadensky is counsel, and both applicants are also here, and everyone is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Terrific.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, representing the applicants in this case. If you want, I'll give you a little preview and proffer on this.
That would be terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, I have Mr. Fitzgerald is in the room, and Mr. Delaney is joining us from Milan, Italy. So we'll say buongiorno to him. This is a transfer of an existing BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. If you look at their record, they haven't had any problems at that location. They're going to transfer exactly what's there. The persons who will be delivering or serving alcohol will be alcohol certified. They have security cameras. They have lighting. They will link their security cameras in with the city police department so that if they can be available for the city to look at anything that happens in that area. If anything does happen, Mr. Fitzgerald has the experience. It's a shame that the chairman isn't here today because he worked at Palmieri's down in Little Italy, which is next to La Scala, for a period of years, and didn't have any problems down there. So he'd be the primary person who has the experience. Mr. Delaney, as indicated, is playing professional basketball in Europe at this point. He has been doing so for the last 10 plus years. He was one of the last graduates, I think, from Cowsland Catholic, and then went on to the Pro League, but he'll be back in town and intends to go forward in the situation. No, my camera stopped here for some reason. I don't know why it's.
We can still hear you.
Yeah, okay. The situation is, here I am again. Oh, nice to see myself. They don't plan to make any changes. Will be open possibly around 11 a.m. and go forward from there. Mr. Fitzgerald has had some preliminary discussions with the Brewers Hill Association, and we'll continue to have conversations with them, and we'll go forward at that point.
How many employees do we expect?
I think initially probably the number between 9 and 14, and the ones that will be serving alcohol will be alcohol certified.
Okay, and given the fact that Mr. Delaney is in Italy, who will be in charge and running the operation? Will it be Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes, Mr. Fitzgerald will be the one to be the primary person there, yes.
Okay, good. And as you noted, this location has not had any issues which is certainly important. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
None.
No questions.
Okay, Mr. Blendy, any testimony from the public?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
Great. Based upon the application, as well as the proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based on the application filed and the information received today, I approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and the request of off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Great. Thank you, and good luck to your client, Mr. Kadinsky.
All right, thank you very much.
No exhibits for the record.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant and council received follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete this transfer that was preliminarily approved today by the board and by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Yes, please.
And the next matter is also Mr. Kadinsky's client, and applicants are Linda Lee Kuzmiu and Andrea Lynn Butler, Romans Place Incorporated, trading as Romans Place. Premises are located at 2 South Decker Avenue, and this is an amended application to transfer ownership of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadinsky, representing the proposed licensees who have been on the license at least part of the time. And if you want me to proffer, this is a transfer, basically stock ownership due to estates where there were 2 or 3 deaths. Mr. Linda Lee has been involved in this business for a number of years. It's been a place that's been there for a great amount of time. Her daughter, Andrea Butler, is joining in the operation of the place. It's a family owned operation. It's been there for years, and unfortunately, the older Mr. Cosby died, and then Linda Lee's husband, who was on there, also passed away. They're trying to get this place up and operating.
Okay, great. I note that there doesn't appear to be any issues in the history for this licensee. And I'll also note that there is a letter of support from a Miss Sonnenborn for this amended application. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, anything from the public, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
Great. Based upon the application before us and the proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I would vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership.
Again, Harvey Jones, based on the application file and information received today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I approve the amended application to transfer ownership.
Great. Good luck, Mr. Kadinsky, to your client. Ms. Russell?
Yes, light exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicants will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete this transfer with the board preliminarily approved, which by law must occur within 180 days of today. And with the board's indulgence, Mr. Kadinsky, please take my wishes to Slava Ukraini and make my grandparents proud that I would say that on Adjournment TV.
Oh, good for you.
Any further questions on this matter, commissioners, or Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
I think we're ready to move forward. Thank you.
Then the next matter before the board today is applicants Mert Osterk and Antonio Foster, 5716 LLC, trading as trade name pending, 5716 York Road, Suite B. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article Sections 12-1609B and E, where the board may issue an additional Class B beer, wine, and liquor license to the holder of a current Class B beer, wine, and liquor license holder if the new establishment has, one, a minimum capital investment of $500,000 for restaurant facilities, not including the cost of land or buildings, and two, a minimum seating capacity of 125 individuals. As the board may note, the seating capacity requirement is not met, so the board, under the same statutory authority, may waive the capital investment or seating capacity requirements if the board holds a public hearing and reviews the business practice of the license applicant and determines that the license holder is in good standing and has a reputable business practice. Applicant is also requesting outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel for these clients. And he is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. Stephen
Good
W.
morning, Mr. Yes, good morning, Mr. Fogelman. How are you?
Excellent. Got a full office here. So before me today is Mr. Osterk and Mr. Foster. They're on the other side of this conference table. And I'd be happy to proffer if that's an option.
Yes, and I would appreciate that. And really, we have two sort of issues in front of us with this applicant. We have whether the applicant meets the new license requirement, and in the event that they don't meet the seating requirement, which is they don't, we need to better understand their business practices in order to waive that provision. So please proceed.
Certainly. So the applicants have already spent or have a budget of over $500,000, $378,000 for construction, $172,000 for equipment. They've got a layout for 80 seats, not including a bar, not including outdoor tables. So they do come up short of the statute. Now, this is Mr. Foster owns Noir Restaurant and Lounge next door. Mr. Foster also was the landlord for a pizzeria that went out of business. And it was such a good neighbor in the community as far as serving their needs that Mr. Foster wants to continue a pizzeria and Italian restaurant at that location. So Noir Restaurant and Lounge, LLC, you will find in good standing with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. I'm also proffering, and Mr. Foster, acknowledges that he served thousands of customers in the community and that he has a good relationship with the community. So I think, I think, Mr. Ozturk, although they're going to call this place Angeli's too. Mr. Osturk's been GM at Angeli's in Little Italy. We've submitted a menu from South High Street that will effectively be a similar menu to York Road. And finally, I find it interesting that Councilman Cohen from another district, from the first district, has written in support of this location, noting that the management at Angeli's on South High Street made and gave away 10,000 free pizzas for first responders during the early days of the pandemic. So I think together, those things show that these gentlemen run reputable businesses. And I think that the public documents available on the State Department of Assessments Taxation show you that their businesses are in good standing.
And so Mr. Foster is currently a licensee at Noir Restaurant. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And how does he intend to manage both establishments?
Well, they're next door to each other, right? Yeah, so they're next door to each other. So that, there won't be much of a commute between the businesses.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
None.
No questions. I just want to thank the applicant for donating to his constituents.
Okay, so Mr. Blendy, any public testimony?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair, and I do note that while the screen does not show little j in commissioners' files, there is the qualifying factors you should have in your binders 12-1605E that the evidence of the license history. I'm happy to read that off if the commissioners care for me to.
No, I think it's important that we place that on the record, that the current licensee, Mr. Foster, has no history of violations. And that, as Mr. Fogelman mentioned, Noir Restaurant is active and in good standing, and that we received only one call forwarded through the 311 system regarding the license complaint, which was abated. And so based upon the proffer and for Mr. Fogelman and the application before us, I would waive the seating requirement under 12-1605E. And I would vote to approve the application for a new Class B restaurant license with outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Also, Harvey Jones again. Based on the business practice presented, I waived the requirements for the 125 seatings. In addition, I also approved the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license requesting outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I also move to waive the seating requirements for 125 seats. And based on testimony provided today, I also approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and the request of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Good luck to your clients, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you all.
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, menu.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Licensee or applicants will receive follow-up instruction from this agency on how to obtain the new approved Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with ancillary services the board approved today. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are, yes.
And the next matter before the board today, applicant Shane Ree Carpenter, Hex Superette LLC, trading as Hex Superette. Proposed premises located at 5718 York Road. And this is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1603 C1 I, requiring $200,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, 40% food sales, and a seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people, but not more than 150 individuals, requesting outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Fogelman, good morning again. Would you like to proffer?
Yes, good morning again. I have Mr. Shane Carpenter across from me here. Mr. Carpenter operated this business for 7 years in Belvedere Square. It's a business that serves fresh and fermented food, local delicacies, and international food. He's moving in next to the pizza shop that we just discussed, right across the way from Full Tilt Brewing. This is going to be a real power corner up there on York Road. Mr. Carpenter has enjoyed community support for this specific project as he sought zoning changes in order to make this happen, and they supported him throughout. So that's all there is to it. He does have and has submitted a budget showing over a $1.1 million build out and a floor plan showing more than 75 seats, not including the bar or the outdoor tables.
Great. And remind me, I don't recall you saying it. You may have his engagement with the community in terms of this new establishment.
Yes, in fact, he had to get a zoning variance in order to operate as a restaurant at this location. And the community gave him lots of letters to the BMCA. Unfortunately, we were a little late to trying to get these to get reissued to your attention. But he does remain involved with and engaged with the community and looks forward to continuing to serve the residents of York Road.
Terrific. And I do note for the record that you have submitted a detailed budget showing over $1.1 million in capital expenses, as well as you mentioned, a floor plan of over 75, but not more than 150 seats. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Jones?
None.
Okay, great. Mr. Delaney, any public testimony?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, no one has raised their hand.
Great. Based upon the application before us, the detailed budget, the floor plan, and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I would approve the application for a new Class B restaurant license with outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based on the application filed and the information received today, I'll approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license requesting outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and the delivery of alcoholic beverages. Tongue-tied.
Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I also approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license and the request for outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Great. Ms. Russell?
Yes, like close this for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support. Board Exhibit 2, capital investment. And 3, alcohol certification.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant and council will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with the results of today's hearing and instructions on how to obtain the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license that the board approved today. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Yes, we are.
Then the next matter before the board today, also a client of Mr. Fogelman, applicant Mark D. Larkin Jr., Inkworks Incorporated, trading as Coppermine. Premises are located at 5736 Falls Road, and this is a amended application requesting transfer of ownership only and delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Mr. Fogelman. Would you care to proffer?
Yes, I'll be happy to. I'm joined here by Alex Jacobs, owner of Coppermine, and Mark Larkin, the general manager of the proposed facility at 5736 Falls Road, formerly known as the Curb Shop. This license originally was hoping to be placed within the Coppermine facility. However, after discussion with stakeholders, they have decided to stay put at the Curb Shop location as a service to Coppermine's parents and many people who support the program. There are about 300 yards or less from the Norris Field Coppermine facility and even shorter distance from the Coppermine Sports Center. They intend to serve light fare and really a limited beer and wine and liquor menu for parents, for lunch, for meals. It's not going to be quite the bar that Curb Shop once was. It's maybe a little more casual hangout with a slightly more limited menu, but an amenity to the many friends and supporters and parents of Coppermine.
How many employees do they expect to have, and will they be alcohol certified?
Yeah, let me first address the alcohol management. They have been alcohol management certified, and their servers will be as well. Their identification policy will be 100% total ID check.
Okay,
As far as the employees,
About 5 to 6, yeah.
about 5 or 6 employees.
okay. That's helpful. Commissioners, any questions?
No questions.
None.
Okay, Mr. Blendy, any public testimony?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, no one has raised their hand.
Okay. Based upon the amended application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I would vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based on the application file and information received today, I also approve the request for outdoor table service at the premises, off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. And I also approve the application to transfer the ownership. May I repeat that once, please? Let me do this again.
Of course.
Okay. I do approve the application on file, and I also approve the information received today to amend the application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages and off-premise catering. Did I get that right this time?
Yes.
Yep.
You did, Commissioner, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mr. Chair, before I make a motion, is there is there catering?
That was not requested in this application. The second thing that Commissioner Jones said was what the application, when he corrected himself.
Oh, okay. I just want to make
Thank
sure I'm doing it correct. Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you. Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Great. Good luck to your clients, Mr. Fogelman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits for the record.
Congratulations. I didn't know.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership that was preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Are we ready to move forward, Mr. Chairman?
We are.
Then the next matter before the board is applicant Bernard Dehane, Wickus LLC, trading as Bimor Taqueria. This premises are located at 1731 Eastern Avenue, and this is a Class D beer and light wine license and an amended application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D beer and light wine license presently located at 32 North Chester Street to 1731 Eastern Avenue, requesting outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Fogelman, how would you like to proffer?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant, Bernard Duhaney, who is across from me here, joined by Valentino Sandoval, the GM and owner. Mr. Duhaney is the applicant here because he has significant prior licensure experience in Baltimore City. He's been on the license for La Calle, which was downtown, which is still open downtown on South Street, upscale restaurant that also involved Mr. Sandoval. They've been partners in the past. Mr. Duhaney served as licensee at Chuck's Trading Post up in Hamden, the Corner Charcuterie Bar in Hamden, and a Bodie Corner, which I think was actually the same establishment under a different trade name. So they're moving this license from 32 North Chester, right on Eastern Avenue, to serve tacos, to serve Mexican food. And they have tremendous experience, Mr. Sandoval in the kitchen, as well as Bernard Duhaney, who's known as chef. They are serious restaurateurs, but just like everyone else, they need to have a level playing field to be able to serve alcoholic beverages with their meals in order to keep customers from going down the street, and maybe even keep the customers around for an extra 20, 30 minutes. So they both are alcohol management certified, and they both intend to institute an alcohol management policy of 100% ID check at all times.
Great. Any issues any violations for Mr. Delaney and his previous establishments?
None that I remember. Hang on, so I want to keep a proffer. So let me just let me go off mic.
I think so.
All right. My understanding is that there was a possible violation at the corner bar regarding outdoor tables potentially having too many. I don't know that there was a public hearing on that, but so I don't think there were any violations. There may have been an instruction from an inspector to cure the perceived problem, which was cured.
And he's requesting the outdoor table service now, so I assume he'll comply with
100%.
Assuming now, the other question I had is because this is not only a transfer of ownership, but it's also a transfer of location. Can you speak to any community outreach or engagement?
I personally cannot. I'm doing this hearing for a colleague. I personally cannot. I can tell you that 1731 Eastern is indeed one of the northern borders of Fell Point.
Correct.
And I would certainly wait to hear if there are any persons on the line who would like to speak. But I will make sure, and Chef Delaney knows he has an excellent relationship with the neighbors up in Hamden, that they will attend a community meeting, virtual community meeting, and do some outreach if that has not already been done.
Okay, that is very much appreciated. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just looking at your one question, I don't see any letters of opposition to this. Am I correct?
That's my understanding as well. Yes.
Okay, no questions. Thank you.
No questions.
Okay, anything from the public, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. Based upon the amended application, the proffer for Mr. Fogelman, I would vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership and location of this Class D BW license presently located at 32 North Chester Street to 1731 Eastern Avenue with outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and the delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based on the application filed and the information received today, I'll approve the amended application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D BW license presently located at 32 North Chester Street to 1731 Eastern Avenue, requesting outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also approve the amended application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D BW license presently located at 32 North Chester Street to the new location of 1731 Eastern Avenue, and a request for outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Good luck to your clients, Mr. Fogelman. Ms. Russell, anything for the record?
No exhibits for the record.
Then that concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership and location that the board approved preliminarily today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are you ready for the last matter?
Yes.
Then the final item on today's docket before the board, applicant Radhiko Sool Rustic Gourmet of Roland Park LLC, trading as The Veranda Kitchen. Premises are located at 842 West 36th Street. This is a Class D beer and white line license, and an application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D beer and light wine license presently located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue to 842 West 36th Street, and a request for outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Radica Sulin. I would be happy to proffer in this matter.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. The Veranda Kitchen, I think I said it last week. It's always fun to represent a restaurant that already has a great track record. In this case, a decade-long track record serving the community in Hamden with Indian cuisine, a place that was open for lunch only for many years, and a place that today and in the future only plans to stay open until about 9 or 10 o'clock at the latest. So as far as the community goes, this is an asset. There's no problems whatsoever. Again, it's an attempt to level the competitive playing field, to allow her to service customers who want to have a glass of wine or a beer with their dinner. She will card everyone, as I've talked about in earlier cases. In fact, Mesula is not a drinker, and thus she therefore wants to have the highest level of observation on her customers. Doesn't expect for the sale of alcohol to account to more than 10% of her receipts. Truly just a convenience and accessory to her customers. So I thank you very much.
Great. And I do note that she is transferring this from one location in Hamden to another location in Hamden, and certainly has a long history, a good history in the community. So I appreciate that. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions.
None.
Okay, Mr. Blendy, anything from the public?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
Okay, based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I would vote to approve the transfer of ownership and location of this Class D BW license presently located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue to 842 West 36th Street with outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based on the application filed and proffer given by Mr. Fogelman, I approve the application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D BW license presently located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue to 842 West 36th Street, requesting outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes. Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and location of a Class D BW license presently located at 3520 Chestnut Avenue to the new location of 842 West 36th Street, and also requesting outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
No exhibits for the record.
And that concludes this matter before the board. Applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership and location that the board approved preliminarily today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. That, I believe, is the entire docket before you, Mr. Chairman. Do you have any additional matters?
No, thank you to the staff and to the applicants and the public for participating.
In that case, I
Yeah.
will read the adjournment. The board will be in recess and, oh, sorry, Mr. Commissioner.
Yeah, Mr. Blendy, I just want to state that it was the acting chair did a great job, and it was great to see Harvey again.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
I'll
Excellent
second
job,
that.
everybody.
Then if there's nothing further, commissioners, I'm happy to read the adjournment. The board will be in recess until February 17th, 2022. The board shall post on its website, provide notice to applicants and or attorneys, and conduct a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have on these matters or any other. That is it, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Great. Thank you. Everyone have a great day.
Goodbye, everybody.
Off the record, Ms. Reporter.
Off the record.